Hi, I'm Guy, and today I'm going to explain how to repair small holes in your drywall. Now, if you're wondering why a pest controller is explaining how to repair drywall, it's because in order to treat a German cockroach infestation, you need to drill holes in every wall void throughout your entire house, and those holes need to be repaired. Sure, you can hire a professional drywaller or a handyman or something, but this is actually something you can do pretty easily yourself with just a little practice. And by the way, if you have a German cockroach infestation, then I would encourage you to either watch my video on how to eliminate the problem or buy my book on the subject. If you've tried everything you can think of and nothing's worked, not even a professional, then you owe it to yourself to give this method a try. It's like nothing else you've ever seen or tried before, and it works 100% of the time. I will place links at the end of this video and in the description for both the book and the video. The video is free, but the book covers way more information, and it makes it a lot easier to follow along and get the treatment done correctly. Either way, whether you watch the video or purchase the book, I promise, if you have a German cockroach infestation, this method is going to eliminate the problem once and for all. Also, if you have any other pest problems, please check out my website at www.guyspestsolutions.com. The website is totally free to use, and there you're going to find links to all my videos. If I do not have a video on a particular pest, there's a good chance that I have written directions on how to treat the problem. You will also find modifications to my videos that cover different sorts of scenarios or applications that you may run into. My website is jam-packed with just about any sort of pest control information you may need, and again, it's totally free, so please take advantage of it. Anyway, if you have drilled holes in all your wall voids throughout your entire house, this is the way you can get them fixed yourself. Today I'm going to do the repair on this mock-up wall that I have used in a few of my videos. I drilled holes in it when I was doing my videos to show you how to make your own electric duster and how to treat a German cockroach infestation. Of course, now I need to repair it. Fixing one hole is no big deal, but if I'm repairing dozens of holes throughout my entire house, there is no way that I want to be sanding this stuff and making a huge mess. So I'm going to show you how to do this with no sanding at all. I have watched all sorts of YouTube videos on how to do these repairs, and not one of them explained how to do this without sanding. Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Not only will this save you from all that mess, but it's also way faster and easier to do too. The way I do it requires 2 coats, but what's the rush? There is no way that you are going to get this done in one day anyway. Okay, the actual procedure for this is really quite simple. As you can see, the drill really tore up the drywall. The good news is that this is really easily repaired. Now, you'll notice that I have drywall paper that is very loose around the hole. So, the first thing you want to do is cut off some of that loose paper. Personally, I like to work with 2 putty knives. Most people will tell you to use a very small putty knife, like 2 inches wide or something, but I like to work with one that is 6 inches wide. Also, I use a second knife that is a bit bigger that I use to hold the joint compound while I'm working. I picked up this set of 4 knives on Amazon for about $15. I didn't show it here, but it also comes with a 2-inch and 5-inch putty knife. The 2-inch knife is kind of handy for removing joint compound from the container. I've watched a lot of videos on how to do this, and most of them are going to tell you to do the repair with spackle, but I prefer to do it with joint compound. Most professional drywallers refer to it as mud. The reason a lot of the pros will tell you to do it with spackle is because it dries quickly, so you can do the entire repair in one day. That could make sense if you only have a couple of holes to repair, but if you are repairing holes after a German cockroach treatment, then you have holes drilled into every wall void throughout your entire home, so There is no way that you are going to get them all repaired in just one day. Unlike spackle that will dry quickly, you need to let joint compound dry overnight. This is fine for our purposes because we are fixing a lot of holes. The advantages of using joint compound instead of spackle is that it is very forgiving and you don't need to sand it. I also like it because there's no mixing and it's very easy to work with. If you make a mistake and you put this stuff on too heavy, all you need to do is take a sponge and just wash it right back off. And you can do this even after it has thoroughly dried. So, if you use joint compound, you really can't mess this up, because if you make a mistake, you can just wash it off and try again. To repair the hole, all you need to do is take some of the joint compound, or mud, and put it on the larger putty knife, and you're ready to begin. Start by forcing some of the mud into the hole, and then move the putty knife in different directions to try to get the mud under the loose paper. Most drywallers will tell you to use the back of the putty knife to push the edges down into the wall, but they do it before they apply any mud or spackling compound. I like to do it after applying the mud because I think it helps to force the mud into the loose paper and it pushes it a bit deeper into the hole. You can take your choice whether to do it dry or wet, but the idea is that you want to make an indentation so that none of the edges of the hole are above the surface of the paper. Now, go over it one more time with another coat of mud. You don't need to get too fancy with this first coat. The idea is that you just want to make sure that the hole is filled and you leave enough mud above the surface of the hole so that you don't have an indentation when it dries, or at least not much of one. This stuff can shrink a little, which is why it's a good idea to put it on a little thick. If you don't like the way it looks, you can keep trying until you're happy with the result. Don't worry about any imperfections. The important thing is that you have the mud built up above the top of the hole. The excess will be easily removed with a sponge. To show you what I'm talking about, I'm going to put a bunch of mud right next to the hole to show you how easy it is to remove it with a wet sponge, even after it dries. Now that's a big chunk of mud. Okay, what we need to do now is just let it dry overnight, and we will be ready to smooth it out with a damp sponge. It's now the next day, and the mud is well dried, so let me show you how to sponge it off. The nice thing about using a sponge instead of sandpaper is that it doesn't create any dust, but you must work with a light touch because the mud is going to come off very easily. The good news is that if you remove too much mud, you can simply just give it another coat. I purchased these sponges on Amazon for about $12. Even though I only needed one sponge, I had to buy an entire package. Start by getting a small bucket and put a little bit of water in it. You just need enough water to be able to rinse out the sponge. Get the sponge really wet and then wring it out as much as possible. The wetter the sponge is, the faster it's going to remove the mud. Even when the sponge is very dry, it will still remove the mud quite quickly. So, unless you are removing a lot of mud, you want to wring out the sponge as much as possible. In this case, I want to remove that big blob of mud that I put on the wall, so I'm going to make the sponge a little wetter than I normally would. Now, watch how quickly it removes that blob of mud. As you can see, that entire blob of mud was removed in a matter of seconds, and I didn't speed up the video. To do the actual repair, I'm going to rinse out the sponge again, and this time I'm going to wring it out just as dry as possible. Again, you need to work with a very light touch. If you press too heavily, you're going to remove all the mud. After a while, you're going to get the hang of it, so you know exactly how much pressure to use and where to remove the mud to get a professional look. The objective is to leave enough mud over the top of the hole so that it's above the surface of the paper. It's okay if you make it too thick, but you want to try and feather out the edges into the wall so that they disappear. Right now, it doesn't need to be perfect. Now clean up any mess that you have on the outside of the hole just to make it look a little neater. Here is the end result of the first coat. You can see that I have a slight hole in it and I have just a little bit of paper sticking up, but I will fix both of those issues with the second coat. Just like with the first coat, I'm going to apply a thin layer of mud over the hole, and then I'm going to smooth it out and feather in the edges with the putty knife. You can take as much time as you want with this because this is a very slow drying product and it's very forgiving. If you're not happy with the way it looks, then just keep working at it. It should kind of end up looking something like this. Take notice that I work in kind of a circular pattern. This makes it easier to feather in the edges. Okay, now we're going to wait another day and sponge it off tomorrow. The mud is nice and dry now, so let's sponge it off. Just like before, you want to work with a very dry sponge. You want just enough water on the sponge to make it slightly damp, and you want to work with a very light touch. I know I keep repeating myself about this, but this is really super important. Now, just smooth in the edges until you have everything feathered in. Remember that you want to leave a little bit of mud higher than the surrounding paper, but only about the width of the paper. So, you should end up with a repair that looks something like this. After you have a repair that you're proud of, then it's always a good idea to paint over it with a primer before you actually paint the final color. Otherwise, you may see a flat spot where the repair was made. I know a lot of paints claim to be a primer and a paint at the same time, but I don't believe it. I think it's fine to use either a latex primer or an oil-based primer. I'm using this primer that I had laying around, but you can use any quality primer that you like. Since I'm only painting this mock-up wall, I'm doing it with a brush. But normally, you're better off using a roller because this is going to leave brush lines in the paint. A roller is going to give you a much nicer look. In the interest of time, I'm going to speed this up a bit. As you can see, the repair is already looking pretty good. But let's see how it looks after it dries. By the way, if you want a really neat hack for keeping paint fresh for a long time, just place a piece of saran wrap over the paint in the bucket and press it into the paint really well and seal it to the edges of the paint can with your fingers. Now, place another piece of saran wrap across the top of the can before you tap on the lid. The primer I used today is about 2 years old and there was about 25% of it left in the can. Yet, all I needed to do was mix it up again and it worked just like new. It's the same thing with the paint I used today. That paint is about 2 years old, and after I mixed it up, it was like I purchased it yesterday. Now that the primer has dried, let's put on the finish coat. Okay, let's let this dry, and we can see what our repair ends up looking like. Now that the wall is dry, you can see the finished repair. This is exactly where I did the repair, and I can't see that it was repaired at all. Let me zoom in here a little bit so that you can have a better look. You can see the brush strokes because I painted it with a brush, but if I had painted it with a roller, you still wouldn't be able to see the repair. Here's a wider angle view looking down at the repair. As you can see, any evidence that there was a hole has virtually disappeared. With a little bit of practice, you too can make repairs like this. The best part is, unless you have already painted it, if you mess it up, you can wash it off with a sponge and try again. You can do this as many times as you like until you get it right. After you master the first hole, the rest of them are going to be super easy. And by the way, oftentimes you will run into a situation where the wall is textured. My wife didn't want me drilling any holes in our walls, so I just put a big blob of mud over the top of our textured wall for demonstration purposes. Here's a close-up of the wall. As you can see, there's quite a bit of texture to it. If you sand into this, you may damage the surrounding texture, which is why a sponge really shines in these situations. Just like with any wall, you want to work with a fairly dry sponge that is just slightly damp, and you need to use a light touch. Just like before, feather in the edges. Here's a close-up of how it looks feathered into the texture. Obviously, you are going to need to spray a textured finish over the top of the repair, or you're going to see a spot, but you can see how well it's feathered into the texture. Now, if I'm repairing holes in my walls, I really don't want to paint the entire wall again, so it's a good idea to match the paint. Most of the time, you're going to find that a closet is painted the same color as the room, so this may be a good area where you can cut out a small sample of the wall and bring it to Lowe's or Home Depot to get the paint matched. They are usually very good at it, but make sure that they test a spot on the sample that you brought in. If you can see where they applied the paint, then they need to have another go at it. You need to tell them up front that they must match the paint perfectly. If you do not get a perfect match, then you're going to need to paint the entire house again. Now, if the room you're working in does not have a closet, then take a sample from behind a piece of furniture. To obtain the sample, cut about a 3 or 4 inch square into the wall with a box cutter or utility knife. You don't need to cut all the way through the drywall. All you're going to do is remove the paper, so just cut into the wall about 1/8 of an inch deep. Pry up the paper with a putty knife and carefully peel it off. It can be a bit of a pain to get off, and it tears very easily. But don't worry if you tear it, as long as you get a large enough sample so that the paint color can be matched. As you can see, I tore it myself, and I've done this before. Place it up against the wall near the area where you patched and check to make sure that it's an exact match. This is important because sometimes the paint in the living area will fade more than the paint in the closet. You can repair the damaged area pretty much the same way as you repaired the hole. You're just going to make a larger repair. Apply a thick layer of mud over the damaged area and then feather it in the same way you did when you were repairing a hole. The only thing is that this is going to be a bit thicker and you're going to feather it out a further distance, so it's not quite as noticeable. Just like fixing a hole, you need to let the first coat dry and then sponge it off the same way. Apply a second coat and feather it out even further. Sponge it one more time and make sure that it's nice and feathered in. Prime it, paint it, and you're good to go. Now remember, if you have a German cockroach infestation, you need to watch my video on how to eliminate them, or you need to buy my book. Either way, this is the only way you will ever get rid of those disgusting creatures. Again, I have links in the description and at the end of this video for both the German cockroach video and my book. As always, if you found this video to be of help to you in any way, please consider subscribing and don't forget to click on that like button as well. It would mean an awful lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. Be well, my friends.